Welcome back, folks. So 9.17.1 just rolled out, but with it, there were a few changes behind the scenes that did not get mentioned in the patch notes. So today we'll take a look at these hidden details, as well as the buffs to the premium tanks about to be coming out soon. So here is the WZ-111 1-4. It's the tier 9 Chinese heavy tank. It received a 40mm boost to the side armor above the side skirts. So originally it was 80, now it's 120. So a little bit better against tier 7s, mostly mediums and light tanks with 76mm or possibly low penetration 90s, but you'll still get penetrated by 120mm, 128s plus, so whatever. More congruent, more similar to Russian counterparts, but small detail. Here is the tier 6 Japanese medium tank, the Cheeto. So it received a nerf to the side of the turret from 50mm to 35, but this is only a nomenclature representation of the side of the turret. So originally it was stating that this part is the actual side of the turret. Now it's stating that the rest or rear end of the turret is the actual side of the turret. So only nomenclature change, nothing much. Here is the tier 5 premium American heavy tank, the T-14. It received a better lower part of the turret front. So originally it was 101, but now it's 139.7. Did not get mentioned in the actual patch notes. So it did receive a HD remodel, but this was pretty significant because 101 to 139.7, that's like 40%. That's a lot. So originally, HD remodels will remove some of the weak spots like bow machine guns or driver view slits, but that's only like 10mm or 20mm. No, mostly 10 actually, but not that much. So, small detail. Now here is a funny vehicle, the Object 907. So they mentioned the turret roof buff from 30mm to 40, but they did not mention the upper plate buff from 100mm to 110. So as you can see, the upper plate is about 10 more millimeters effective, whereas the lower plate reduce about 14, 17-ish. So it's a medium tank though, but what is funny is now the roof of the turret is overmatchable, or you need a high caliber gun to overmatch it. So any guns like the 90mm will struggle to pen, so you need 120 plus. So therefore other medium tanks with 105s will have a problem with the top of the roof. So what's also funny about this case is you'll have a buff on a Clan Wars reward vehicle for the Russian, whereas for the Germans you have the VK7201K, and they received a copy of it for normal players with the same exact model. The gun's a little bit different, but fucking it's only a gun. So Russian bias? Yeah, sure, there's no Russian bias, right? So here is the side armor. As you can see, originally it was about 124, 125-ish. Now it's 160. So 35mm boost. Wonderful. Sure, Russian bias. No such thing. Here is the Chrysler K. So they have put a price on this vehicle. So it will cost about 9,200 gold. So that's pretty cheap for a tier 8 premium heavy tank. Normally it's about 10,000, 11,000 gold. So that's roughly 50 bucks. But 9,000 gold is more like 39-ish, 40-ish. So it's on the lower end of the gold cost. And yet, they buffed the frontal armor of the hull as well as the side of the hull. So here you can see the upper plate, the lower plate, all get boosted. So upper plate was 120, now it's 133.4. Lower plate was 152. Now it's 184. So remember from the leak video, this vehicle has a 20 horsepower per ton ratio with a top speed of 35 kilometers per hour. 20 horsepower per ton ratio, and the terrain resistance was not that bad. I think it was about the same as the Comet, if I remember correctly from the leak video. So this thing is basically a medium tank with about 60 tons of weight and 184 millimeters of frontal plate armor-ish, or 133 depending on where you ram. But this is a premium. This is a fast, heavy tank with armor. I don't know anymore. I mean, I really don't. We have the Object 252U, so the standards have shifted. No more such thing as stupid premium tanks that are funny, like the TOG 2 or the Super Pershing. Now we have freaking OPS above average, like power creeps beyond all belief. So side armor gets buffed from the original 3 inches or 76.2 to 101.6. I mean, 76.2 is alright at side scraping with a rear mounted turret, but it's a lot better at 100, right? So this thing is fast. This thing has the same mobility as the Comet with turret armor, frontal hull armor. Side armor is also not that bad. So people have said that you should splash HE into this plate right here behind the upper plate or between the upper plate and the tracks, but it's a small target. This thing is mobile. This thing will shift. I mean, you're trying to shoot at a sliver with high explosive shell. If you miss, you hit the tracks, which deals less damage. So, right. Good luck with that. Does not work. So, that's a Chrysler K. Also, they buffed the APCR penetration of 105 from 245 millimeters of pen to 260. So gold shell is a little bit more effective now, but you don't really need it because this thing is fast to go flanking. So yeah, that's the new standard for premium tanks now, so I'm scared. I'm really scared. Here is the Lorraine 40T. I will do a leak video about this vehicle this week, but here is the model for 9.17. So they buffed, or they somewhat buff the armor from different track links onto this vehicle by adding more clutter to this vehicle model. So here is the 9.17.1. As you can see, they put various stuff like the track links, the robes, the canvas onto the turret, the tools at the back. So small stuff, but they're preparing this vehicle to be fully released. Also, sucks for those who already have the batch at 25T AP because you should be compensated with that vehicle because they switched that vehicle out for the Lorraine 40T, or Lorraine 40T was switched out, so you should be getting the Lorraine 40T for free, right? Nope, not like the FE4202 or the T34. So super bummed about that one. Not fair. Also, they shifted the ammo count from the clip of the autoloader from 6 rounds to 4, and better aim time now. DPM is about the same, so reload is shifted to adjust for the clip size, but DPM is about the same, so nothing is lost. Ammo count is the same. So I'll talk about this vehicle from the leak video this week, but yeah, it's I mean, compared to the Chrysler K, sure. Doesn't compare. So yeah, those are the premium tanks about to be coming out soon, and I want to finish up this video by talking about the massive increase or power creep, power levels of change for premium tanks now. So this vehicle, the M4 A3E8 Thunderbolt number 7, the version number 7 of the Thunderbolt, is about to be coming out soon. So this vehicle is basically a Sherman Jumbo on steroids. So it's the Colonel Creighton's Abrams Sherman Easy 8 with more armor. So yeah, it's a Sherman Jumbo with more mobility. So I took a look at the stats. Here are the preliminary stats, but as you can see, the upper plate is 123 compared to the Sherman Jumbo's 100 and 177 on the turret compared to 150, I believe, for the stock turret of the Sherman Jumbo. But this is going to be a premium tier 6 American medium tank. I'll do the leak video as well, but as you can see, the power levels of these premium tanks are getting super crazily different. So originally, when I started playing World of Tanks, premium tanks are more of a unusual, occultish of a premium vehicle that you normally don't see on the battlefield. So like the TOG 2, like the Super Pershing, so basically super obscure and not really the standard of the vehicles in combat, right? But now you have like broken ass 252Us and maybe the Chrysler K, holy crap. So I don't know. I mean, they have been buffing all the premium tanks. So they buff stuff like the STA-2, the Japanese Tiger 1s, the Panzer IV Schmalterm, the Panther M10 from this patch. So are we seeing a premium tank change standard? So their standards are being shifted from between stock values to elite values of the tanks at the same tier to mostly the same values or even above the elite stats of tanks of the same tier. So basically you can just buy a tier 6 vehicle and play with your friends without any detriments to the stats. That's disappointing for those who actually grind, right? So originally you play premium tanks to make credits and train crews. The vehicles are not that good compared to normal tanks of the same tier, but you do make more credits and crew XP, and that's the trade-off. But now, they're the same or even better than tanks of the same tier. So, I mean, it's not really pay to win per se. It's more of a paying to not grind or play the game. So I don't know how I feel about that, but a lot of players do say that, Sam, oh, you're basically hyping up the 252U. It's not that great. Everybody can shoot the lower plate. Well, it's 220 millimeters slope. It's 140 slope to 220 millimeters effective for the lower plate. That's astoundingly good for tier 8, alright? That's super good. I wish some vehicles would have that for the upper plate. No, they don't. Like, take a look at the Tiger 2. The Lurve, they have about 120 millimeters effective for the lower plate. You're comparing that to 220. That's astoundingly good, alright? But some players said, oh, you get shot at the lower plate. You get pinned by something like the AMX-50B or T-57 Heavy, and you die. Well, you shouldn't be face to face with the auto-loading 120mm, right? So, I mean, if you have a donkey driving the vehicle will still suck. But based on the actual power, levels of the vehicle, there's no comparison. So, I don't know about the standards anymore. So originally, vehicles like the T-28 concept made me laugh at the game, made me want to enjoy it. So I'm not that actual competitive kind of player. I'm more casual. So I like to see vehicles with super weird features like the TV-1, nuclear powered obese man of a tank. So I like to see crazy vehicles like Chrysler K, very fascinating, but these power creep vehicles are just so many of them, and they're like a dime a dozen, so holy crap. I don't know anymore. I took a look at the Sherman Revitalize when it initially came out, and thought that vehicle could be a little bit good based on the alpha, but the gun depression sucks, the camo sucked, the armor sucked, the mobility sucked. It's basically a Sherman at tier 8 with a big gun, and that was the selling point. Alright, sounds about fair. Fits between the stock values and elite values of a tank for a premium tank, so Alright, fine. That fits. You have vehicles like the Sherman Thunderbolt, yet the Object 252U, and now the Chrysler K. Holy crap. So yeah, as you can see from the stats from VB Addict, so here are the stats for 9.17.1. As you can see for the mouse, it gets a spike in number of occurring players. So number of occurrence increased. That's no surprise. The armor buff, the DPM buff, all the stuff. So as you can see, yeah, bunch of spikes for the damage, spikes for the damage dealt, damage per minute, yada yada. So they are saying that there may be a nerf for the mouse, but nobody knows yet. So they're still collecting data. But what's also funny is the income also increased based on the damage dealt, but the net income decreased. So what this means is this or any other player, the average player, is using a lot of gold shell with a mouse, the 128 APCR shell. So that's the meta now. It's a bunch of heavy tanks shooting gold rounds. And yeah, awesome. Same goes for the Type 5. So a lot more spikes of occurrence, so more appearance of the vehicle. Same goes for the penetration rate, damage dealt rate, using gold high explosive, obviously. So gross income increased, but net income decreased, meaning that gold shell, the gold high explosive, very OP. And take a look at the Grill 15. It gets dropped because of the nerf, so unfavorable, obviously. So drops, damage dealt. Nobody plays it anymore. Became disappointed, obviously. Yep, drops. So the E5 also gets a drop. And that's pretty much it. So yeah, folks, I took a look at the 252U, but there weren't that many points to consider, not enough data to collect. So yeah, we'll keep on track of that vehicle, but so yeah, if you have a donkey driving the OP vehicle, it's still a donkey. I mean, the vehicles still suck. So it's like traveling back in time to the caveman era and giving the dude a chainsaw, and he somehow lobs his own arm off and blames you for it and gets angry at you. Whose fault is that? Your fault for giving him the chainsaw, or his fault for being an idiot and don't know how to use it? So that's the metaphor, but I mean, it's a chainsaw. It's pretty good. These vehicles, pretty good based on previous vehicles in the game. So freaking Chrysler K with 20 horsepower per ton ratio and 180mm of lower plate armor, moving at 35 kilometers per hour top speed. Yeah, you'll get rammed, but I mean, the standards shifted dramatically, so who knows anymore. But there you go, folks. So I'll try the sandbox iteration number 3 this week, as well as doing the leak videos for the Sherman Thunderbolt, the Lorraine 40T, and maybe the tier 10 light tanks. So stay tuned, but thank you guys for watching this video. Hope you guys enjoy it. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.